People of the world, this is Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode 238. We have a very special guest today. Because I know her personally. She's part of my BNI chapter. Her name's Mollie, and she's grinding. Do you understand me? Look at her biceps. You'll understand what I'm talking about. She's not just grinding on the physical front. It's emotional as well. It's spiritual. It's the whole thing. Why is it? Because you're trying to give people their life back. Trying to make them feel better. How do I know that she's an absolute rock star? Well, she lost, 125 pounds. 125 pounds. Do you understand what I'm saying when I tell you that she is incredible? She also has a company on the side where she does personal training. So if you're listening to this in the Las Vegas area, you may want to reach out to her. Branded One affiliate. She's looking at potentially starting her own Branded One CrossFit. Eventually, we're going to get the whole life story. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mollie Doubet. Let's go.
That is the best intro I've ever been given. Can you just do that for me from now on everywhere I go?
Be a hype person. You're walking into a party, you walk into a Starbucks.
Before I coach my classes, that'd be
right. That's right. We'll get fog machines.
I never thought about having a fog machine. Oh, man.
Somebody hit the confetti cannon.
Yes.
Esther Sass in chat writes 125 pounds without giving birth. You hear that?
Oh, no.
What do you think about that, Mollie?
No, thanks. I'm good.
Yep. Hard pass?
No.
All right. So... grinding it out at a CrossFit gym. Let's start with people's criticisms of CrossFit, shall we? I know. We're jumping right in.
Right.
I went to a CrossFit where one of the owners had a hurt shoulder, and I made one of those blunders where I said, she's like, oh, do this, do that, do this. And I said, oh, well, show me. And I forgot her. She hurt her shoulder. She gave me this look like, bro. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Let's talk about injuries in CrossFit. Okay.
So the common injuries we have are shoulders, knees, hips, lower back. But this could happen anywhere. Generally at Branded One, we're pretty lucky, knock on wood, that we haven't had any major injuries because we know how to modify it back, scale it back to a person's ability. Essentially, if you're getting hurt there, that's either a pre-existing condition or something is going on when the coach isn't looking and you're doing it wrong, and we can correct it from there. But with any exercise program, you can get hurt. You just have to learn your body, listen to your body, take rest when needed, talk to a doctor if it's really bad, find out the root cause of whatever's happening. A lot of times people with lower back pain have tight hips and they don't know how to loosen those hips up. And then once we show them how to mobilize the hip joint specifically, they feel so much better. So it's just about communicating with your coach, doing the movements the correct way the first time, learning those correct movement patterns, and then mobilizing from there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I was young and stupid, and I was in a CrossFit gym, and we were doing max, overhead, down, up, whatever you call that.
What?
And no, I don't know. Who you know better than I do? What do I know? What am I going to argue with you? No, that's not it. It's like, no, she definitely knows stupid. I had way too much weight above my head. You know what I mean? And I couldn't help myself. I was like that ego that started I can do it like that. It was too much. It was too much. And I put myself in a position where I just never should have. Luckily, I didn't hurt myself. But I caught myself going dude, you are doing something you should not be doing. So how do you fight against people's own internal, no, I can do it, and they get into that sort of thing. And you're like, bro, you need to chill and take care of yourself. More reps with less weight as opposed to just ridiculous
going
weight.
For that max. So that's an ego problem. We at Branded One ask that you check your ego at the door, mostly because of the community that we have. If I see an athlete that's really struggling with their ego, there's a really good way to kind of point it out to them. You kind of have to be a dick. If I'm honest, you have to be a dick about it, but you have to be a subtle dick. So you'll go over, address the athlete, give them a suggestion, watch them do it the correct way, and then you kind of have to walk away from them and trust that they're going to do what is best for themselves. it's really hard. Even I struggle with this because I'm used to being the strongest person in the room, and I have to pull myself back sometimes because I don't always have to be the strongest person in the room. Sometimes it's more about moving with quality over heavy weight. But this person with this ego, if you address them one-on-one, show them what they're doing wrong, usually with that one-on-one attention, they'll feel special enough that they'll drop that ego. If not, then that's another conversation we have to have outside of class. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get it. It's just part of human nature is to want to push it. And you never know, like it's always easy to go the moment after you hurt yourself to go, oh, I shouldn't have. Like I knew better. I knew better. But there were 1,000 of those that led up to that one too. So you got, you're right. And checking your ego at the door is just part of the culture, or it should be. So let's talk about marketing and word of mouth and clients. So owning a gym, a lot of people are just going to go out and they're going to talk to their friends. Hey, I like this gym, that sort of stuff. How much do you think social media plays a role in that in CrossFit in 2021? And how much of it's just old school? Hey, I go to this gym, you should come with me, friends and stuff.
So for us, we actually don't get a lot of engagement on our Facebook and Instagram. And we have a Twitter that's not great because we don't post enough on it. A lot of ours is word of mouth. But when we do post and when we are more active, I do see more engagement from our members and from people in the community. It's a free marketing service we definitely should be taking advantage of. And we're working towards that. We have a whole social media calendar planned out for the next month. So you're going to be seeing Branded One all over the internet coming up. It definitely helps. It doesn't matter on the size of your gym. Having an active social media, because social media is everything in this day and age, it's going to bring in more members by default. Just because they'll be cruising through Instagram, they'll see the nonprofit. They learn about the nonprofit, and then they want to come in and help support our mission. And with word of mouth, it's huge because from our Instagram, you can't get the same level of. Our members are super good at plugging our community. And I tell people to come in and try a class because you will see the camaraderie between people. It doesn't matter the level of athlete, the level of disability. We meet you where you're at with your skill level and your fitness level. And then all the people around you keep you going, even when you want to stop. So
I wonder if there's anything you could do where you tell folks, hey, if you want to, at some point, just have like a 5-minute before or after class, where if you want to post something to Instagram, we will help you do that. You know what I mean? It might be neat. Just to, like 3 minutes before class starts, like, hey guys, we're trying to promote the gym. If anyone's willing to, I will literally hold your camera and I will take a video, a TikTok, a Snapchat, a whatever. If you want to put something on, like maybe it cross your mind. Because I think for a lot of people, you can't selfie, right? So you show up to the gym and you're like, that's just, you're like that ego person who's like, like it just looks terrible just even doing it, But for like the head coach to be like, hey, you know what? You'd be doing me a favor if you let me take a picture of you doing the whatever, snatch. I don't know. The grab. Brad Hess in the chat. What's up, guys? What's up, Brad Hess? Let's go. He's very tall. Do you know that he's very good at video games because of the height advantage? So, Mollie, Doubet, let me ask you about the weight loss. Okay. So at some point in your life, you gained a certain amount of weight. So why don't we go all the way back to when you were a kid? When did the weight gain occur?
I don't remember specifically gaining a bunch of weight. I do remember that I have a certain family member who, from a very young age, was hypercritical of what I looked like, my physical outward appearance, and not necessarily what was going on inside. You want to talk about trauma? That's something I'm still working on to this day. This was like 6 or 7 when it started, and I'm 32 now. So there was one summer, I think I put on 30 or 40 pounds. I was in high school. And I played sports. Like I was a super active person. I just gained a ton of weight, but between, I want to say my freshman and sophomore year. And then when I went away to college, I still played sports. I was still super active. And by the time I graduated college, I was almost 260 pounds. And I'm only 5'3". So I was very out here. Have you seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
I have the blueberry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of, I resemble the blueberry, but pale.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still, because of that family member that I was really close with, I was hypercritical of myself. And I struggled with anxiety and depression during that time. I couldn't force myself to eat better because I couldn't create the change inside myself. So I went to the doctor shortly after graduating. I want to say it was like maybe a month after I graduated college, and they told me how far down I'd gotten, and I was putting myself at risk for diabetes. And my genetics isn't that great. That there's precancerous genes. I have diabetes. There's
you have diabetes, or is it just in your family?
My 3 people in my family have it, and I couldn't have it. If I had let my weight gain control my life, I would have diabetes at this moment.
So when you go back for family reunions and stuff, are people like, seriously? They're just like, come on. Are you upsetting people with your very physical being?
Yes. Not to throw him under the bus, but my dad just doesn't quite understand why I do what I do. I sent him a video one time. I had squatted like 300 something pounds, and I sent him a video, and he just goes, okay, cool, but why? It's just something that I'm really into, and they don't really understand. And I don't expect people to understand it. It's just something I'm doing for myself because I want to right the wrong patterns in my family.
Of course.
So my doctor telling me that if I continued on that path, I would not lead a very good life, really kind of kicked me in the butt. And I went the next day to a gym, and I met one of she actually has turned into a lifelong friend. Her name's Heather. She was my first personal trainer, and she's the reason I got into this. Without her, I would not be sitting here right now.
I love it. So
probably
kudos.
And some Krispy Kreme instead.
Let's go. Kudos to Heather.
Yeah.
So let's talk about 10 years from now. So 42 ain't 32, right? It just isn't. I mean, 32 is sort of running, jumping, climbing trees. You're feeling it a bit, Yeah. And and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, injury, ooh, that, ooh, this, ooh, that, and all of a sudden, it's 300 pounds isn't even an option anymore. It's not an option. You can't do it. It's not that like, oh, I could work up. No, you can't anymore. That's not a thing for you. How can you transition and not fall back into previous patterns? Like when the body starts to say, okay, you're different now. You're older now.
Time to slow down.
Yeah, you have to.
So CrossFit, the brilliant thing about CrossFit is that it's changed gears in recent years. It's become about longevity. We're training for the future rather than right now. CrossFit's all about functional fitness. Everything I do every day, it's going to help me in the long run be better. Right now, I'm trying to be that RX athlete, that fire breather. But as soon as my competitions are over in October, I can take a step back, take a week off from being a hardcore badass and just relax. And then I can focus more on training for how my body feels as opposed to training for the Iron Games, where I'm doing my first big girl individual competition that I'm super nervous about. I know myself. I actually am just coming back from an injury. Already, I've already. You didn't have to tell me about 42. Everything feels different at 32. I was messed up. So I know how to, and I know when my body feels off. I know how to take that step back, and it's super important to, especially if you go to the gym or if you see a trainer or if you just have friends that are like-minded in the fitness community, to talk to them about how your body's feeling. Be like, hey, do you think this is serious? Sometimes just talking to someone and saying it out loud, like, hey, my hip hurts really bad and I limp when I walk, I look like a less than sign. Typically, they're going to tell you to go to the doctor, and you saying that out loud to yourself, man, I should probably go to a doctor. It's when it's something serious, recognizing that it's a problem, recognizing that you're hurt rather than just training through it is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a sign of maturity, and being able to, as a coach, see someone that is probably pushing it, that sort of thing. But yeah, CrossFit for longevity to me is where it's at. Yeah. So is there a CrossFit Tai Chi for 75-year-olds?
There could be. Do you want to set it up? We could do it like 2-3 times a week.
CrossFit Tai Chi. Here we go.
Yeah.
Peng Lu Ji An. Grass the Sparrow Tail series. Everyone knows that. Yes. So there were some people back when I was doing CrossFit. Man, 8 years ago, a 60-year-old dude, in there killing it. So it's absolutely possible to keep doing this stuff at an older age.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to folks that are way overweight and they are looking at options, do you get folks that remind you of where you were at coming through the door ever, and you go, yeah, that's me, just in a different body? Talk to me about those people.
It's actually, for me, when I see them walk through the door, I remember exactly how intimidated I felt walking into a gym as big as I was. I did not want to be there. I almost cried that first day until Heather took me to the side and talked to me a little bit. It's important to acknowledge that they're making I always say the half the battle, actually 3/4 of the battle, is putting your shoes on and getting to the gym. From there, it's just the workout and you can do it. But having the courage to walk through those doors and acknowledging that they have the courage to be here and to take better care of themselves, that today is the first day of the rest of their life. You can really connect with athletes who are overweight by 100 pounds or maybe just 30 pounds. They're just trying to get back to a weight before they had the baby, or the quarantine 15, they're trying to lose that still. It's just emotionally recognizing that they're doing something that's really hard and doing it for the betterment of themselves forever. That right there will lay the groundwork for a great future for this athlete at your gym. And I can't speak enough to, if you see them struggling, they look like they want to give up, quiet words of encouragement, just go over and say, hey, I can see you. You're doing great. Don't give up. That, right, to me, that helped me so much. And being able to say that to someone who was in my shoes, but right now in my gym, man, thinking about it, I might cry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, and the other thing too is when you walk up with the body that you've sculpted at this point, it's different. I mean, you got to understand, people are going to judge us based on how we look. And it's interesting to me, the prejudices that we have. I was just talking to someone. I was in this networking group. I just random Zoomed somebody, right?
Yeah.
And there was a woman in the group, and this group, I was just flabbergasted. They were all like, you could just put your chicken in the air fryer. They're talking about chicken the whole time. And I'm like, isn't this a business networking group? I'm so confused. And then we did breakout rooms, and they were like, yeah, what do you do when you don't feel motivated? And then we talked about what we do when we don't feel motivated. And then we came back, we talked about chickens more. I'm like, I don't understand this group. Just don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe it's a business group. It's crazy. Anyway, so there's this woman there who sells fudge. And so 50 plus year old woman who sells fudge, I just fill in all the blanks of her life, right? Because I don't know anything about this woman. I have very little to go off of, right? But I just kind of put her in a box based on that. Right. But I'm like, let's meet this woman. So I do one-to-one with her. She was an advertising agency owner for 20 years.
Oh my God.
She just so happens to be selling fudge now, and is part of this super weird group that I cannot possibly explain, what is up with their air chicken and whatever. But she was making, at the height of her business, $500,000 a year, not accounting for everything she put on the card. Everything went on the card, dinners and hotels and this and that and whatever. And so when we're confronted, and this is an age-old thing we all talk about, but when we're confronted with people, that we do just we make assumptions about people. And so I think now with the body that you have, people have certain assumptions. And I think looking at you, I wouldn't go, this woman lost 125 pounds. Wouldn't even cross my mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that to me is part of the marketing sauce, right? So if you haven't really gone down that path, that's my little piece of advice for you. I mean, have you done that on Instagram? Have you gone through, this was my journey, this is what I went through?
Not for a long time. I should probably revisit
that. That's a TikTok.
I want to say 8-year anniversary of me deciding I wanted to lose weight. So it's probably time to revisit that chapter of my life and talk about mentally where I am compared not only physically then to now.
Yeah. Do those pictures, and I'm just saying, like, that could be really neat. Okay. So, let's go back in time, to just sort of, this. You said you were an athlete the whole way. So what sports did you play when you were younger?
Volleyball.
I love volleyball.
Was all about volleyball. I played other stuff on the side, but it never really took off. I was the libero for my team in high school and in college up until my senior year. I ended up getting hurt on the volleyball court and had to sit out my senior year. So that's essentially not being able to perform, not being able to work out with my team. Like, that really put me in the ground as far as depression.
Wow. So let's dive into that. So how much did you weigh when you were doing volleyball? If you don't mind
I
asking.
probably weighed the same that I do now. I'm around 160 to 170 right now, and I weighed the same then. But it was I carried it differently then. I'm a lot more muscular now than I was then, because and my cardiovascular system is so much more wildly improved now compared to where I was at then.
Oh, cardio and CrossFit, they're synonyms. I mean, it's crazy, the cardio. Couple comments in chat. Caroline Welsh writes, you can tell Mollie is passionate about what she does. And that's true. And Esther coming in with I would guarantee you every woman has had that "you're not pretty enough" moment when they were younger. We can all relate. So was the volleyball injury the main thing that jettisoned you into that depression and the weight gain? Do you think that was, if you had to put a singular moment on it?
There were probably 3 or 4 singular moments in my college career that I could think of that changed my life completely. It was the catalyst, probably getting hurt and not being able to move around as well as I could. That definitely was not a good time in my life. It was a very dark time in my life, actually, that last year of college. So.
Yep. We all have them. I just went through one.
I feel like the whole of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 didn't necessarily count because it was dark for everyone at that time.
Mine was especially dark. I had some bonus darkness in there. Not that I'm comparing darkness with other people. This is not the point. I didn't. You know what I mean? Let's do a suffering Olympics. My suffering's worse than your suffering. So a number of things, many of which I'm sure were very personal, during that final year of college, kind of led, and it tends to be a confluence of events. So there's a Japanese saying that a person is the room that they are in. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard that?
Yep.
So how much would you say a person is the body that they are?
My body is capable, but it's not, maybe like 10% of who I am. It's okay. My personality is 90% of who I am. My ability to get up when I've been knocked down. My friends say that I'm super compassionate. I'm kind. Again, I have a hard time saying these things about myself, but who I am as a person is not, it's more important what's inside than what's outside. So the person that you're talking to that might be overweight, their personality, what's going on inside their head is way more important than their physical body. Yeah, their physical body is going to limitate them, but if you can fix their mindset, you can fix their physical body that much easier.
So have you ever had someone come in and they just got a bad attitude? And they just will not, they just refuse. Oh, you have a bad attitude.
There are days I tell the coaches here that I don't like being cheered for during workouts. Really? We had a newer coach shadowing and she came over and she was like, "Hey, good job." And I was like, "Leave me alone."
Why don't you love when people are trying to love you, Mom?
I have a really hard time being the center of attention. So I would rather be off to the side than in the spotlight.
Okay. This must be excruciating for you, this interview.
Before we came on, my heart rate was like,
That is so funny. That is such a funny thing to say on a live show.
I know.
I don't like being the center of attention.
I really don't.
Well, then we'll spend the next 5 minutes talking about this can of stringent sparkling water. It's lemony. It's everything I've ever wanted. Caroline Welsh in the chat writes, the people who finish the race early and come back to cheer for the slower people drive me nuts. I'm running as fast as I can, people.
CrossFit's not for you, Caroline. Once the first person's done, you're supposed to cheer for the people in your class to keep them motivated, to keep them going.
If you have never met Caroline works at Send It Rising. She is so funny and so witty. That is so true. Like, bro, like I don't need you cheering for me. Like, it's cool. It's cool.
That's how I feel.
Okay, so like if you're doing, if you've got like 2 minutes left on the work and everyone's like, you can do it, Molly, you can go. You're just like, would you just shut up, please? Yep. Is that the vibe?
I'm trying to find my zen in those 2 moments, and I really need you to just stop talking to me.
Wow, that's so interesting that affects, because for me, I think it would have the opposite effect. I think it would give me a boost. And I'm the guy with the live show, you know what I mean? The musician, you know what I mean? Like I want to be the lead singer in the band. Yeah. It bugs me when I'm not leading. It just drives me crazy. So do you think there's any correlation between leadership and not wanting to be the center of attention, or those are two separate things completely? You're still comfortable leading.
So I am the head coach here, and I am in charge of
you're leading, exactly.
Coaching staff. But I can my responsibility is on the back end, making sure that we all bring the same package when we're coaching across the board. We're all the same. I can't think of the word. Shoot.
Unit?
We're all
Unit?
Yeah, we move together as a group. And I can do that without being here all the time. And I can do that without being the center of attention. If I can train my boss, Nick McCombs, to be the best coach ever, then I can take a step back and just watch it happen. I don't have to be in charge to be the leader. Like, I don't have to be present to be the leader. And I really enjoy that part of my job, because we get to have coaches meetings and I get to talk to them for 2 hours about how awesome we are. And then, like, pro tip, how to be better, how to get better. Or if we have coaching standards. So if we're not meeting a standard, if I see a way that we can improve immediately without trying, maybe it's just like one tweak in their coaching, then I try to reinforce that. And then, the compliment sandwich, this is what you're doing. This is what I want you to do better at. This is what you're doing really well. I try to emulate that in my head coach duties.
Oh, the sandwich?
Yes.
I hate the sandwich.
I love it.
I can't. We're very different, and that's okay. I'll take the encouragement, right? When I'm like, you can do it, Kellen. I'm like, yay. And then you're like, shut up. And then when people sandwich me, when they give me that sandwich, I'm like, oh, how dare you? For me, it is always a caca. It's a caca sandwich. I always feel like it's a caca. Like, don't give me a compliment and then say something cruel that I will lose sleep over, and then give me another compliment, because I do not take well to the sandwiching of. Anyway, that's so funny. Everybody's different.
And it's being a coach for CrossFit. It's almost like improv. If you're really good at improv, I can guarantee you can coach group fitness classes. If you can on the spot talk to people without much, I can't help. What's the word for it?
So you're basically saying, like, if you can improvise on the fly, it is that you're kind of made for teaching. And that's true. As a former teacher, I'm the same way. It's like, you really got that. They call it punting in teaching, where you're just like, punt. You're like, your lesson plan lasted for 20 minutes. You got 30 more minutes. And those are things you just get from years of doing it. Maybe some people have an innate ability. But 10:59, we're wrapping up here. I'm going to quick pitch the show, and then I want you to pitch Branded One and your personal stuff as well. People of the world, you know the drill. 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. YouTube.com/Send It Rising. Check us out after the fact on YouTube. The Send It Rising Facebook page. Kellen Kautzman @KellenKautzman on Twitter. All live feeds. Also iTunes and Spotify and 10 other podcast platforms. Our guest today, Mollie Doubet, the incredible, amazing, insert compliments here. Give them the pitch, Mollie.
Hi guys, Mollie Doubet, head coach of Branded One CrossFit. We are the only nonprofit CrossFit gym in the Las Vegas Valley. I say that with a question mark because I'm not sure. We provide free memberships to disabled service members. So any first responder, police, fire, military, it doesn't have to just be a veteran from the military service. We also have an open door policy. We allow paying members. It's not just a veteran gym. You can come in and work out. I can guarantee you're going to love it here because I do, and I don't like most things. I'm also the owner of Intentional Fitness. I'm a personal trainer. I coach CrossFit, Olympic lifting, powerlifting, and a little bit of gymnastics. So if you are not into CrossFit and if you want more on one-on-one, definitely reach out to me because I can help you live your best life.
So at 37 years old, can you teach me how to do a round off flip-flop, a backflip?
I'll have to Google what a flip-flop is.
You jump in your back handspring? No, that's what it is. We called it a flip-flop when I was in gymnastics. Like the boss that I am, killing it. 8-year-old Kelly. They called me Kelly back then, doing flip-flops in a gym in North Dakota. It's just a boss move, Molly.
Yeah, definitely. I could see it.
All right. Final words of wisdom. What do you want to say to the fine folks, Molly, in terms of motivation, stuff like that?
Always do what you're afraid to do. Don't let fear hold you back because everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the show for today. We see y'all